Hello Foliage Family, my name's Romani, the mother of many leafy boys, and today I'm going to try and rescue some of my pickier plants by putting them into pon. So the goal for today is essentially to move some plants that are struggling into pon in the hopes that it will save them. I've only done this once before. I only have one plant that's actually currently in pon, and that is my alocasia friedek. This plant was super duper struggling. It was in the one leaf club, to the stump club. It also went to the stump club where it had absolutely no leaves, and it just was not happy. So I moved it to pon, and that really seemed to perk it up. I have never been the biggest pon fan, I think mainly just because I haven't used it a lot, but it worked really well for my friedek. You can see that it's in like this little cache pot where the inside comes out, and you can fill the reserve with water. So that plant needs an up pot, and while I was at it, I thought I would chuck in a couple of other plants that are also struggling or I think might just benefit from being inside of pon. I want to put these two variegated friedeks in with the one that's currently in this pot. So I want to plant all of these together, all three, and put it in a bigger pot. I think this size will be the size I'm going with for the friedek. The next one that I'm going to put up is probably going to be this little Anthurium regal. I've heard that they really enjoy pon, so I just thought while it was so young, it's probably best to transfer it straight into pon if it's something that I'm interested in doing. So it's not necessarily struggling, it's just a plant that I think I want to try to grow in pon. The cache pots that I've got here, these are from the Leafy brand. If I remember, I'll tag the website or put the website in the description below so you know where I'm getting it from. But they're really nice. There's multiple sizes. So this size is like their second biggest. This is their smallest. This one's going to be for the regal. And this one's going to go in this one over here. So we've got two sizes left. I have the largest size here, and then this is the second smallest. And I think the second smallest is the one that I'm going to use for my, yeah, that should work, for my peperomia. It's not been happy. You can see it's got still a little bit of an issue with the leaves cupping. You can see all of those leaves doing that little cupping thing. They are definitely cupping less than they were. They were almost fully curled over and crumpled previously. I started feeding it with GT Growth Technology Complete Focus instead of Foliage Focus because I don't know where I read it, but at some point I read that the cupping could be from a calcium deficiency, and there is calcium in the Complete Focus, and whether or not it was the calcium, the cupping has kind of stopped, not completely, but it definitely seems to be that it is cupping less than it was. But I think it's also a watering issue. The soil is incredibly dense. I think it dries out a lot faster than the other plants in my collection. Yeah, from what I'm gathering, I think it wants a little bit more consistent moisture than it's currently getting, but it doesn't want to be rotting in it. So it doesn't want soggy soil. So this is my in-between. Oh no. What is that? False alarm. Nothing to be concerned about. I thought I saw thrips. My heart stopped. It's not, because I see there's a lot of like weird damage on the leaves. I don't know if you can see that. There's a lot of weird damage on the leaf right now. So I thought that there was a pest problem, but there definitely isn't. And I can't seem to find any pests on it. So this is my new solution. Because the green pot that my fried egg is currently in will be available, I'm going to also move this plant to pond, and I'm going to move it into this green self-watering pot. Now, yes, it looks incredibly sad. I think I'm going to move it as a stump into pond. So if it dies, it dies. I'm not too stressed about if it does end up dying. It's not the end of the world, but this plant has just been, it's been through the ringer. It had a massive issue with mealybugs, and the ants did end up dealing with that, and I don't see any more mealybugs in there because I think, again, the ants ate all of the mealybugs and then the ants went away. But it's just not been happy. And my best solution, I think, at this point is just to try and completely change it up. I could just put it in new soil and chop it back to a stump and go from there, but I just decided that if I had that pot free, I might as well give it a go. But I'm planning on chopping it back so it's just a stump, cleaning off pretty much all of the roots, and then putting it in pond and taking the top and maybe putting it in some water, seeing if it like water propagates. I don't know. This one is a true experimentation. We will see. It's pure neglect. I didn't do much to get rid of the pests, and I overwatered it and then I underwatered it, and I just kind of I just didn't care for it. Like, plain and simple, I just wasn't caring about this plant the way that I should have, and it now looks really sad because of that. So I'm going to start fresh, and hopefully it will rejuvenate my want and desire to actually care for this poor plant that has been put through it. So I'm going to start off with, I think, the easiest one, and the one that's going to require the most pond, because there's a lot of pond that's going to need to be used today, and I don't have a massive amount of it. So I have obviously the pond that's already in these pots. So there's some pond in the fried eggs already that I'm going to reuse because there's nothing wrong with it. The fried eggs aren't dying or anything like that. So I'll reuse the pond. And then I've got 2 bags of some more pond from the Leafy brand. That is so heavy to hold up above my head. But I've got 6 litres in total, which to me sounds like a lot, but I don't think it's actually going to go as far as I hope it's going to go. But if I do run out, I have some pumice, and then I also think I have some lava rock downstairs and a bag of charcoal. So if I'm desperate, I think I can reuse some components from downstairs to fill out the rest of the substrate if I need to. But we'll see. I hopefully don't have to use that, and I can just use what I've got here. But I don't know, like, even just looking at this pot, it is looking like I'm probably going to use up at least 1 bag for the Clairnervium. Because I don't think I showed you that one. Oh yeah, this is the big one that I also want to put up. Oh, is this really sad looking Clairnervium. It was looking lush and happy and living its best life previously, but since moving to this house, it just hasn't been happy. It's had a lot of browning edges and just a lot of signs that it's never had before. Even when it had pests, it's appeared happier. But yeah, I think I'm just going to move it to pond for the sake of it. Again, I think it's just so that I feel more excited to care for the plant, because if something's different about it, I might have a reason to try and to care for it more. I don't know if that makes any sense. Let me know if that makes sense to you, if you've ever experienced that, where you just feel fatigued to care for a specific plant because it's not growing the way you want it to. But by doing something new and exciting, like putting it in pond, which I've not really done before, I might just end up caring for it a little bit more as well, because I'm invested in how it looks and how it grows in a new substrate. So yeah, let's start with a fried egg because it's already in pond, so it's probably going to be a bit of an easier transfer over. I used to have a plastic tub I would do this in, but at some point when I was doing like a really big up pot, I think it was the last time I redid my fried egg, not my variegated fried egg, the Chores, the non-variegated fried egg, I must have slammed the container too hard down on the tub, and I ended up, I think, cracking it. So now it like leaks water, which yeah, it just makes things a little bit messier. Oh, the soil came off that really easily, which is not exactly what you want. It means it wasn't growing into the soil very well. It doesn't look unhappy. Right, so I have cleaned off as much of the soil as I possibly could on the roots of this fried egg. Not a lot of roots, but it's a really small plant, so it doesn't really matter that it doesn't have a heap of roots. So now it is time to try and get all of the other fried eggs and put them all up together. So I'm going to try and reuse as much as the pond as I can, because I'm not flush with extra pond. So we're going to try and pot them all together. I really love the look of alocasia when you have multiples potted up together. Just because they do get, like, you know, they can get quite a few leaves. Like this is 4 leaves. This one has 5 leaves on it. But when you've got, you know, 3 of them potted together and all 3 of them have at least 4 leaves on them, it just makes for a much fuller plant. So, ooh. Lovely. I'm going to pull some of the rotted roots off and just put them off to the side. I don't want to introduce any rot if I can avoid it. So like a couple of rotted roots is, you know, typical to find in your pond. That's mainly from the transfer, because I haven't looked at these roots since I transferred it in for the very first time. So they were just, you know, some roots that didn't make the transition, but seems to be that there's only like one singular rotted root and the rest of the roots transitioned to pond, so that's good. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. That's so positive. Oh, hold on. There's one more little rotted root. That is not bad. Now, a smarter person would go rinse this pond, just make sure that it was all fresh, but I am time poor and don't want to. So we're just gonna rock and roll with that. So I've got these 2 so far, looking all nice and cleaned off. I'm actually super happy with how that's looking. I'm just gonna try, I have like the little container, so I'm gonna put the rotted roots in here so I don't end up accidentally combining it. All right, last one. I'm going to take this little hook off of it. Ooh. So I use this to sort of keep the plant stable. It's like a stem support. A little stem support. But yeah, it's just there to sort of keep the leaves in the direction you want it to go. I love them for alocasias. But I'm just going to put that to the side because I had that holding up this one. I'm a bit nervous about this one because there's no hole in the bottom, so it absorbs the moisture through the actual like terracotta or clay pot. It's not terracotta, but the clay pot, the unsealed pot. So it probably means that the roots are very much stuck to the side of the pot. Can I move these just in here for now? Yeah, let's do that. I'm like plonking this on the regal. Can I move you? You better not have spider mites. Because if you have spider mites and I just let you touch the majestic regal, I may cry. But no, it doesn't seem like you have any spider mites. Okay, so I can sort of lie you down like that. Oh, actually, I think this is, I can feel the rocks falling out of the tray and getting onto my legs. Okay. But that is sliding out pretty easily. Okay. 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 That was not bad. That was not bad. That was not bad. Okay. I will wash this pot out before I put a new plant in it. But, okay, that worked out really well. I was really worried I was going to have to, like, get a knife in there to, like, crack the plant out of this pot, essentially. But it just slid out. So, happy days. Alright, so same thing. I'm just going to try and pull out some rotty roots that might be in here because there will be a few in this particular one. Had a hard transfer, I know that. But, I don't know if you can see it. There are a lot of roots. Found another corm. I'm going to probably zoom you in so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, so I moved it down so you can actually see what I'm doing as I am taking off some of the roots. I've also moved my mic to be on this pot. So if you can't hear me, I'm really sorry. And it might just be music while I'm pulling roots off. But I found another corm in the soil. And I'm going to try and find a couple more. There is one that is right here. And I don't want to remove that one because it's sitting high enough that I think it will be able to grow, and I don't want to pull it off. But some of the ones that are really low down, I don't know if they're going to be able to wiggle their way out of the pond. So they'll probably just end up dying in there. So I'm going to take those ones off if they are deep within the pond. Oh, yeah. Another corm. 2 more corms, that seems to be it that were in there, and I will probably just chuck them in some fluval stratum later so that they can grow. But that seems to be it. There's quite a few roots, and I can still see that there are some not so like fresh roots in there, some like a little bit soppy roots, but I don't want to keep pulling at the roots and pulling off the old roots because I worry about disturbing it too much, I think is my problem at the moment, that I'm just going to keep disturbing it and it might make it a little bit more angry. Fried eggs don't love being messed around with. Alright, so Mike is back on me now, and I am going to take these 2 cuties and this one here and pot them all into this big tray here. So hopefully I will remember where my corms are, because I managed to find 4 of them. Where can I put them? I don't know. I'm just going to put them on the couch beside me. Okay. And I've got a fair bit of pond from the previous ones combined. So I'm going to try and reuse a lot of that. But maybe I'll start off the bottom with some new pond. Some new pond. Ooh, that is loud. What I'll do as well is when I water the plant, I'll water it in the shower, and that will help to wash the pond. But yeah, you are intended to wash the pond before you use it. I choose not to, but it hasn't caused too many issues for me in the past, so not that I've used it a lot, so maybe it'll cause issues this time, who knows. I hope not. Ooh. Okay. I can feel the rocks just keep flinging off into my lap. That is okay. So I think the corm that I've left in there, it's right here. So I think I want to put these on the other sides around it. So maybe here. Okay, here. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to put this one here. And then I think there's a corm that could grow around here. And then I think this little one, which has beautiful variegation in that newest leaf. I think that one is going to go over here. Beautiful. And I want to give it room to grow, so I'm not going to fill it to the tippy top with pond. Probably going to fill it to about here with the pond, and essentially I think I'm just going to use this pond until it's gone, which actually might be too much. I might have added too much of the new pond to it. Hope not. If I have to use it for a different plant, I will actually go wash the pond. I'm not going to use it on any other plant unless I go wash it, but we shall see what we shall see. Sorry for the crunchy noises it's currently making. I'm being really messy about this. I just don't want these to be like drowning in the pond. Do you know what I mean? Like choking them off where they can't, where the stems are gonna, because the stems are too far below. So I've just pulled them up a little bit. I didn't pull them too hard because I don't want to snap any of the roots, but I think we're okay. I think we're chugging. We're chugging along. English is hard. All right. Okay. All right. I have gone and washed it out in the shower. Pond is so heavy. I think it's also one of the reasons that I'm not like the biggest fan of using it if I can avoid it, but it is in here now. I'm really thankful that the pots from that Leafy brand are like really lightweight, because if the pot was also heavy, I think I would super duper struggle to do this. But yeah, it looks good, looks happy, looks healthy. I'm going to stick this inside of the pot to sort of help secure the top part. That looks so good. I love the look of this pot too. So that is one done. I am feeling accomplished. I'm just going to put it over to the side here, out of the way. I think I want to do this little one next, the little regal, because it's in sphagnum moss. So there's no soil. I don't have to worry about contamination, getting soil. But the roots look super healthy. Alright, I'm going to zoom you in again, I think, so that you can actually see what I'm doing. Oh, the roots look so healthy. I'm so happy. Regals are known for being quite difficult to grow. So a lot of the times you can find crosses. So not a pure regal, but like a cross with something. And I have a couple of crosses. I have a regal cross Ligerians, at least that's what I think it is, and a regal cross crystallinum, which is really pretty. But I've wanted a pure one for so long. And now I finally have one, so I feel very lucky, which is why I'm putting it straight into pond, because I just feel like it's what most other people that I follow have done with their regals. I trust them, so I think Good Growing, I think, has hers in either pon or sphagnum moss. I think seems to be the go. I think she has hers in pon, and then Jungle Haven has hers in sphagnum moss. I can't quite remember, but I do remember that a bunch of people that have regals tend to have them in sphagnum moss or in pon. And I'm not a fan of sphagnum moss. So I thought pon would be the way to go. I feel like sphagnum moss just, like, if it dries out, it can be really dangerous. And it's a pain to untangle from thin, spindly roots. Ethereum roots are a little bit chunkier, so it's less problematic, but it's still not fun. Okay, but I think those roots look fabulous. And the leaf looks so healthy. Alrighty, so we've got our little cash pot. I'm going to put this one down to the side. And I'm going to put a little bit of pon in to begin with. So I will repeat. It even says on the container that you are meant to wash this pon before you put it into the container. And it could be to my detriment that I'm not bothering to wash it. But I truly just don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. I will wash it super thoroughly, like rinse the plant out super thoroughly when I water it, to rinse the pon that way. Like, I'll take this to the shower, rinse it out, and then it did, like, some dirt came out of the last one. Well, it's not dirt, but like some of the dust washed out of the last one. But I just, like, I don't know, working with wet pon is the worst, so I prefer not to if I can avoid it. Now, there are definitely parts around here where you can see the roots. Like right there, you can see the roots coming through the pot. And the aim of that is, again, so I can see if there's any rot that's happening and if I need to do any saving. But I'm going to go give that a good rinse, and then I'm going to bring it back, and we are going to move on to the next pon plant. All right. So I have just taken this to the shower and given it a wash down. You can see it's still leaking a little bit of water, but it looks so much nicer once it's been washed in the shower. Again, you can see the roots just here, so hopefully it will make a good transition into the pon, but it is looking super healthy. I love the way this pon looks. It's like got multiple colors in it, reds and blues. It's actually like a really pretty pon, so looking beautiful. All right, moving on to our next plant. This is the one that I'm a bit nervous about, to be completely honest. Just because I know that peperomia roots are really, really spindly. They're really, really fine, really delicate. And peperomia just, like, sensitive. I guess. They just don't like change, and like the smallest thing can mess up their entire lives, and then they will get stem rot and die. So let's hope that doesn't happen. All right. Changed it over to the soil mat too, but oh yeah. The roots are so tiny. I honestly, this is the one that I don't think is going to make the transfer. I'm just trying to massage it and hope that the massage will loosen up the roots. I don't actually know if these roots are healthy or if they are dead. The soil's coming away really easily and the roots aren't snapping off, but it's so hard to tell when roots are this thin and this spindly if they're actually alive, if they're healthy, because if it's like the previous ones, we had the alocasia roots or the anthurium roots. Like the anthurium roots, it's really easy to tell if they're healthy. If they're healthy, they're white, they're thick, they're stiff as well. Like you could snap them really easily. Like they don't smush, they would snap. The alocasia roots, they're also like a little bit more flexible, but they're still quite white. Whether these roots, I think they genuinely are still healthy, but they're so thin that it's hard to tell because like it's like hair. I do not know if I'm going to be able to wash off the soil, so I might also have to do a bit of a root trim and just take it back to like the bare minimum roots, because the more soil I leave behind, the more chance it has that it will rot, and that's what I don't want. Like I don't want it to rot. All right, so I think this might be as much as I'm going to be able to get off just by, you know, shaking it off with my hand. I'm going to take this to the shower now and try and actually rinse the roots off and get rid of all of the soil that's sitting in this tray as well. All right, I'm going to attempt to show you this wash up process. All right, so I think I managed to get, I would have to say like at least 90% of the soil off, which is a lot more than I expected. So there is not much soil left. Hopefully you can see just how much I managed to get off, but it is leaking everywhere. I'm actually really pleased with how much I managed to get off. Now, maybe I should just chop the roots off entirely. I don't know. That could be the way to go, considering a lot of the roots are going to end up probably not able to transfer over to water, but I'm going to give it a go. It's not a super rare plant. It's not that hard to replace if it does die. Obviously, I don't want it to die. I don't want any of my plants to die if I can avoid it. But what I'm trying to say is it's not going to be the end of the world, and it's not an irreplaceable plant if this doesn't work out. So it's a good chance to try something new, try something I've not done before, see how well it works out for me. So I'm just going to put in the pond now. Just put in a little base layer. The roots are going to be a little bit clumped up instead of spread out, just because now that they're wet, they're all sticking to each other. I'm going to try and spread them out a little bit when I put them into the pot, but I don't know how well that's going to go. Yeah, because it's kind of just one big clump now. They're all a bit tangled in with each other. Yeah, it's kind of like trying to untangle wet hair, but you can't brush it because it's fragile. So I've kind of tried to spread out the roots a little bit in the pot. Don't think I've been incredibly successful, but if I fill in the pond while the roots are sort of sitting up like this, hopefully it means that the roots are going to be at least not in one massive clump. We are almost full. I really hope this works. I don't want to have to buy another peperomia, because I think if this dies I might not get another peperomia. That's the thing. And I really like it, so yeah, hopefully this actually works and it makes it look beautiful and healthy and it grows big beautiful leaves. Alright, it is transferred in. You can barely see it, but there are roots. Oh yeah, I'm not going to be able to lift it towards you because it's still leaking so much, but there are roots around about here. If I can zoom in and show you, I'll try and zoom in and show you, but I can see a tiny bit of the roots. I'm going to put its cash pot on now because it is leaking a lot of water everywhere. But yeah, it is looking pretty good, and already the leaves are looking healthier, and it's been in it for a couple of minutes. I think it's just because it actually has gotten a lot of water to its roots in the last like hour or so, because I will be cutting these clips, but it has actually been a very long time and a very long process to get these plants potted into pot. Alright, it is definitely getting cluttered in here now with all like the bits and bobs. I just accidentally hit the regal leaf and now there's like a tiny piece of damage on that leaf. Don't know if you can see it, but if you know anything about anthuriums, like as they get bigger the damage gets worse, so ooh, I'm putting it right behind me in the hopes that I stop damaging the plants that are around me, because I'm just running out of places to like push things off to the side. This is the second last one that I'm going to do. Hopefully my battery makes it. My battery is getting super low. My mic battery looks like it's getting really low as well, so if my audio starts sounding really weird or my audio just cuts off completely. So this is the velvet leafed black velvet alocasia. I'm assuming there's no roots. Like, I'm just assuming there are no salvageable roots, but we will see. Yeah, there's a lot of dead roots. And the soil's just gonna go straight in the bin. Okay, there's like 1 or 2 roots. 1 or 2 roots that are okay. Oof, yeah. The stem doesn't feel to be rotted, which is a good sign. I was worried about stem rot, although the bottom, ooh, that is squishy. The very bottom does appear to be a little bit rotty. Just a little bit gross. So I might have to chop that off with a knife just to make sure that that rot doesn't continue. But the actual stem itself, I'm squeezing it and it's not mushy. So that is a good sign so far. I'm going to chop the bottom off where there's rot until there's no more rot. I'm going to wash the whole thing down to get rid of the soil, and I think I'm going to chop it about here and pot the bottom half in soil, pot the bottom half in pond, and then pot the top half in some water. So not really pot it, but place it in some water. I'm getting rid of this leaf because, ooh, there was already mealybugs. Just like one or two. I was really hoping there were none, but there was a couple of mealybugs on that, so this is just going straight in the bin, the leaf is. And I'm just going to take off all of the little sheaths because they will be hiding some mealybugs as well. And this way we are potting it up and there should be no chance of mealybugs because it will have no soil from the old pot, it will have no leaves. I've cleaned all the crevices. It should be a completely fresh start for this plant. All right, so I cleaned off the soil and I did some chopping. I had to chop pretty far up the bottom till I saw no more rot. So that's what it's looking like now. I'm trying to do it where you don't see my face. So that's what the bottom's looking like now. That's what the roots look like. That's going to be the one that goes into the pond. And this one I'm just going to chuck in some water. And it still has a growth point at the top. I think I might have broken the growth point just a little bit because I was not being very gentle with it. But it's enough of a growth point that it will continue to grow from the top there as well. So because I had to chop and I don't want to immediately cause it to rot, I'm going to leave it off to the side while I do the next one. So that's why I wanted to do that one in between before I do my clanovium, because I want this one to dry a little bit before I actually pot it into pond. This is the last big one. The biggest one of the lot too. It's a mess. I think there's multiple in here as well. Let's just get it out of the soil. So, oof. This has been my method for a while. It's like a little moisture meter. It's a susty. Because it just wasn't looking happy and I thought I was overwatering it. I don't think I was overwatering it. Susty was telling me that I was watering it fine. So that's why I've moved on to the solution, because I just couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I don't know. I don't know what I've been doing wrong. I've had it growing very healthy for many years. And it's only recently that it's started to just look angry with its life. So hopefully the pond will make it feel better. Again, clanoviums aren't that hard to come by now, but it is one of my first ever anthuriums, so I do care that it makes it, and I hope that it enjoys the change. There's about three little babies in here and one big one in the center. I'll take the opportunity to also remove all of the sheaths because it just cleans it up a little bit. It also means that there's less organic material when it goes into pond that can cause it to rot. And I want to try and bury it a little bit deeper as well into the pot. So we'll see what we have to work with once I get it out of the soil. I don't know. We'll see. had to move you to the ground because it was just so big that it was going to get soil absolutely everywhere. So I guess we're sitting cross-legged on the floor now in order to get this out. Because there is a lot of roots. There is actually a lot of healthy roots. And this is what I mean. I just don't know why it's unhappy. It seems to have healthy roots. I'm not digging out a bunch of dead roots. Soil's moist, but it doesn't feel like it's like soggy, and I'm not seeing root rot, so I don't know. Yeah, that is one removed. Plant 2, great. And then that one, plant 3, mildly healthier looking. All right, and this is the final one. Look how thick that root is. That is a thick root there. That one was without a doubt the messiest one, but I did decide to make the chop. This is the bottom part that has all of the soil roots. So I didn't clean it off very well because I'm not putting that one into pon. And then this top half here are the pon ones. So these are the ones that I'm going to end up putting into pon. This is the top half here. And like it has a couple of roots, like really small roots. So it's not going to be like rootless going into it, but it definitely doesn't have like a root system going into it. So how am I going to do this? I have to stay on the floor because for the first part, I'm going to be putting this back into the pot it came from. And I'm probably going to end up taking it outside. I don't think it's going to be an indoor plant. But these ones I'm going to put in this little container that will be for the pon in a minute. That's no fun. Those are the last two. I'm going to try and reuse this soil. Put it back into this container. I think I'm just going to have to do it on the floor here. I'm so sorry, floor. Promise I will clean up afterwards. There's almost still too many roots. I think I'm going to have to do some root pruning. Brutal. But I'm just going to snap some roots off at the bottom. Handy dandy moisture meter in there. And I might rinse just the node because it was freshly cut and I don't want the soil sitting in it, like an open wound almost. And we will see what this ends up looking like eventually. My little chunk in a pot. I'm getting progressively more and more dirty, and my jumper is getting more and more dirty, but I'm flipping back now to the alocasia black velvet. So this is the one that I want to put up in the pon. And yeah, I think this one I'm just going to end up putting in water. So I might just keep that one off to the side over here. But this is the one, and it seems to have dried now. Yeah, bottom is no longer tacky. So that's the bottom. It's going to go in here. The roots feel, yeah, also a little bit dry, so they're probably ready to go into some pon and very happy to be in some pon as well. I have not gone through as much of this pon as I thought I was going to. And And this one will be a guess because there is no way to see the roots like in the other pot. Ooh. And there's going to be no way to rinse this either. I just realized that because I haven't washed the pond because I was like, oh, I don't need to because I just rinse it out. No. It is what it is. Oh well. That's probably a deep mistake, but honestly, I'm tired. This has been, I don't know how long it's been for you guys in my editing, but it's been a long repot night. I'll give it a little bit of water, but the top is out, so where the actual cut is not going to be submerged in any water. I'm hoping that a bunch of nodes will sprout from all around that chunk, and that maybe I'll get like a really bushy plant. That would be great. But we will see. Even if one sprouts, I'll be happy. But there's already water in this reservoir here. Like in the bottom, you can see there's already some water in there. I don't know if you can actually see it, but there's water in there. And then that will soak it up. I'm going to give the top layer a little bit of a spritz as well. But that is done. Ticked it off the list. All right. Final plant. This is so hard to see. I'm going to have to move back. All right. Final plant to do is this big boy here. Like that's where it's going to go. But this one has a lot of roots already. So that might have to go in right away. All right. There is my base layer. Hold them in like that. Might do that. Added a few more pebbles, and I have some pond still to spare, which is wild. I really thought I was going to have to go and make my own pond to fill out the rest of this, but no, managed to get it all done. All right, now before my camera battery fully dies, I'm going to go and rinse this, get all my pots together so you can see the final product. All right, I'll be right back. All right, everything is officially running out of battery. I'm not even 100% sure that it is recording audio right now, but I have finally put 5 plants in total into pon. I will let you know how they go and how they grow now that they've transferred over into pon. I might be going crazy, but I already feel like they look a little bit happier than they did before, especially the Frideck seems to have really perked itself up and is looking really happy. So yeah, here's hoping that this was just the boost that some of these plants need in order to grow a little bit happier and a little bit stronger. So please make sure you do all the YouTubey things. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Comment down below if you saw any big mistakes that I made in my pond journey, or if you have any tips and tricks for any of the plants that are sitting in front of me. And if you have any other plants that you would like to see move to pon, or if you would like to see updates on these plants, make sure that you comment and let me know below. But have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next